What up, y'all? It's your boy Kaizen, and we're back with another VOD review. I'm listening to some fundamentals via DPay regarding just items in general. I'll put a link in the description, but I think a good portion of the TFT community knows about this already because it was released a few days ago. So this game is basically my ticket to a Yasuo reroll. I checked Ionia and it was Path of Spirits, which is one of, if not the best reroll comps for Ionia. Now, Path of Transcendence does give 20% at 7 Ionia with 30% magic damage, and 3-star units get 100% more. So basically Yasuo, since he's gonna be the only 3-star unit, he's gonna have 40% HP and 60% magic damage. However, in Path of Spirits case, 7-piece gives me 35% HP, but I don't need to be 3-starred for that, so all of my 2-star units will get that 35% bonus, and every time my Ionians cast, they get an additional 5% AD and AP. Yasuo only takes 3 autos for him to start casting, along Ari and a few others, and that 5% is gonna turn out to be like 20, 25, even 30, just because of how often Yasuo casts. So that was the game plan, and we move on to the augment selection, and I was given Unsealed from Steel, Infinity Protection, and Slammin'. So now I go through the lobby, see if they made any insta clicks. I'm pretty sure someone picked Silco's Revenge because I was leaning towards Infinity Protection. I've been in the groove of practicing Warwick Flex, and I've been enjoying the many paths that I could take from it, and I ended up taking Unsealed from Steel and Darkened Scythe because of this I've confirmed that Yasuo reroll is going to be my line for this game. So I try to make some econ early game. I know I'm going to be losing the first couple of rounds, so I might as well fast forward it and make money while doing it. At one point, actually on 2-3, I end up selling my entire board minus Yasuo because I really don't need any of those units to get my board rolling. I do intend on losing, and even if that were the case, losing a few HP won't cost me that much. It's not that big of a deal, especially at this early in the game. Managed to get the Blitzcrank 2, which was very nice. Good shot by a Jhin. And over here, I have 17 gold. And again, I thought, why not? And then I go ahead and sell Briar, Shen, and Jhin to make 20. Board looks pretty good. It's a bit of a toss-up, actually. I do have 3-piece Ionia activated, and I fear that might gamble losing the lose streak. And so we ended up just making 20 gold. A win's a win. So now I go for a belt. Someone was pinging it. I'm pretty sure someone wanted to go for that, but they didn't say anything else, so I took it anyway. This bow initially was gonna be Rage Blade, but I figured I haven't gotten a vest yet, and that could be Titan's Resolve for my Yone. And then the sword that my Yasuo currently is equipping, that could be Bloodthirster, or that could be Edge of Night for Yasuo. I was also debating whether or not I should buy 2 defenders because I really didn't want to break 30 gold, but we barely won this one, and that, you know, it's just 2 gold. I also thought that I should have just kept it at 2-piece, but I might have lost more HP than what I did, so we'll just stick with what we got. Picking up some more Yasuos, scouting the board, doing some positioning because I don't want to lose any more HP, but we ended up losing HP anyway because the enemy boards have at least a 2-star tank, which is crazy. I think I could have gotten a 2-star tank as well through J4 or Rumble or even Shen or Alawi, but alas, I didn't get there. We hit level 5 and now we have 3-piece. Oh no, we don't even have Ionia 3 yet. I played this game just a couple minutes ago, and here I was thinking that I have Ionia 3 already, but it's okay. We make some money. I see that we got the sword and the vest, the cloak and the vest for our Bloodthirster and Titan's Resolve. Hopefully we can scam some more fights through this. I didn't want to break the Defender because that's really our front line, and I also didn't want to break Slayer because Yasuo could use the survivability. Although I could have leveled to 6 and put in Jhin for Ionia 3. But again, if things were to happen as they would, I wouldn't have changed a thing. So now we go to our second augment selection. Heavy is the crown. Is great for Vayne reroll and a Demacia comp. It's also good for an Aphelios Bruiser reroll because of the ramping AD and AP per second. Heavy as the crown would also be unironically OP on Sion because he has built up so much HP and he can get up to 21% max HP regen, which is a lot stronger than a Radiant Dragon's Claw. Last second save, again, initially I was going for Ionia Yasuo reroll, but I figured that my frontline isn't gonna be that strong because Yasuo and Yone can just heal back everything up through their Slayer trait and BT and Hodge and their Omnivamp items. So last second save is not gonna be much use for me. I'm currently looking for items because I lack the necessary items. I only have the Darkened Scythe, BT, and Titans, and that's about as useful as I'll get when it's high time to get my board going. 21 gold is 21 gold. I wish it was a lot simpler than that, but it was too confusing for me, so I didn't want to take it. I was considering Salvage Bin because it's an item. Although it's a random completed item, I can just slap it on a random unit. If I don't like it, maybe the components will be a lot more useful to me. Know Your Enemy won't be as useful for me because I am running a Yasuo reroll, and most of the traits that I will be having won't be applicable to the other boards. I'll only be making use of the 8% damage amp, so we take Salvage Bin. Scouting the board again, see if it's much more valuable to go for Know Your Enemy, but again, we're lacking items, so we might as well go for it. And then here's the turning point. I find a Bel'Veth and scout it again and figured no one's going Slayers. No one is even going Void. Well, I did see one Void comp, but they're not going for Bel'Veth in their comp. It's Kaisa Flex. That's gonna be Bruisers or Juggernauts, but that comp is not gonna use a Bel'Veth in their comp. So thankfully, we're able to ride this out. I pushed 7, tried to put as much frontline as I could, tried to tech in Juggernauts and Wardens to an itemless Nautilus, but again, I'm barely scraping the barrel. I'm at a 7 loss streak at level 7, 55 HP, and I have a BT and a Darkened Scythe. And we managed to grab our first win with a Kraken Bel'Veth. We're still first place because we have relatively low HP. We managed to scam another bow for Giant Slayer, and we can, because of this, we can slam Protector's Vow for our Loris in the meantime. That bow was going to be Rage Blade, but since I have Krakens already, that rod could be something else. Could even be a Gunblade, and I could make Aatrox. Since I'll have 2 Slayers and a Gunblade and the Omnivamp from the Darkened Scythe, I'll be able to unlock Aatrox once I hit level 8. This comp is looking pretty okay. It's making us break through the mid game with this hodgepodge of units. We have Cho'Gath and Bel'Veth. We have a 2-piece Void that's gonna slowly unlock Rift Herald later on. Wukong is here to bolster, to get that 2-piece bruiser for us. And we got Taric because, you know, it's a Taric. 10 magic resist for an entire team is a lot more useful than having 0. So we managed to get a bow from our Salvage Bin Plus. We got some nice items. We got a glove for our QSS. I decided to finally slam Gunblade, and I figured I could just make Spirit Visage because this team is severely lacking tank items. And there it is. After much consideration. So this was the Warwick player that this is the player that decided to go for a Warwick game because of Silco's Revenge. This player is also in a much better position than I would be, simply because he has already opened with a glove and Titan's Resolve. So even if I had Infinity Protection, even if I lowballed, and even if I lose streak and got my item priority from Carousel, I don't think I'll have that much of an upper advantage against that player with the Silco's Revenge, because he already has his team set up for it and I didn't. But anyway, we're at our third augment. It's a prismatic augment. Right now I'm looking for items, but because I saw Commerce Core, that thinking flew right out the window. I decided to roll the first and second because Hold the Line is only useful if I have units in the back row, but because I'm now running Slayers, that's not going to be as useful for me. Coronation is just one item, plus it gives me one team slot. Again, it doesn't provide me as much power as Commerce Core would, because I could instantly 2-star, or not instantly, I can easily 2-star my units. I can 2-star my Bel'Veth, my future Ambessa, my future Swain, and my future Herald. And Coronation will not be able to give me that. We roll the first two, and again, Commerce Core is just too good to pass up. I think Monsoon would have been great if I was in a much healthier spot, but Commerce Core provides me with 16 free shot rerolls from the get-go. That kind of value will supersede even Monsoon, even Growth Mindset, in my opinion, because that value is given to you and you're able to use it right away. If I was in a much healthier spot, Tiny But Deadly would have been great, because Slayers, they love the attack and movement speed. But since Commerce Core is in the same augment selection, we take those. You hit level 8, we get a Bel'Veth. There's the 2-star, we get a Noxus Scion for our future Rift Herald. And my devious plan starts a very 16.3 plan of 3-starring 4 costs. Now that people have the ability to stay at level 8, even with the reduced XP change, they still love their 3-star 4 cost. It's a lot cheaper than the 3-star 5 cost. We finally unlock Aatrox and grab our 4 Slayer comp. This team comp it's okay. There's a lot more melee carries than there are frontline tanks, but because we're in this situation, it kind of works out because we have the necessary items for it. Unfortunately, that we can't use Darkened Scythe on Aatrox, but the artifact is only for non-Darkens. We grab ourselves a cloak because I'm looking for some Sunder right now. I'm hoping that this next PvE round is gonna give me either a belt for Even Shroud or a glove for Last Whisper. I was gonna give the Darkened Scythe to Briar because of her hops, but since my Rek'Sai is 2-starred, I figured it'd be best on her, just to give me some of that extra oomph. This Yordle comp is looking a little scary because you're gonna unlock Zig soon. They also have Set. That level 9 Arcanist is going to be a pain in the butt later on. We managed to unlock Rift Herald with 2 copies. Finally got Ambessa for 3 Noxus and 2 Vanquisher, and I believe she's in a much better spot at holding the Darkened Scythe as opposed to our 2-star Rek'Sai. Next patch, they're gonna be buffing Aatrox again. His AD is gonna go from 200 from 150. In the PvE round, we are blessed with a 2-star Aatrox at 4-7. You could even hear me say it during the recording. What a spike in power. But our Aatrox is still 2 items. I don't have an item for him just yet. I suppose red buff would have been great, but I figured Ambessa would be a much better unit to be able to proc the burn and wound because of her dashing and jumping around. I was gonna put the cloak on our Wukong, but it escaped me in that moment that I have a 2-star Herald now. So I could have just transferred the items from Wukong to Herald. So that's why we didn't go ahead with the cloak. Kind of just hold off on that. We hold Swain, but we really can't place him anywhere because we'll be losing 4 Slayers and 3 Bruisers. What I should have done is sell the Wukong and put in Swain. But that will be 4 Noxus. However, Swain will be a much more useful unit because of his AoE CC. And that's the power of 2-star Aatrox with 2 items. We got a 2-star Ambessa, totally not foreshadowing anything. It's totally normal 2-star upgrade. And as we come to the carousel, we're now thinking which item we should prioritize. Should we prioritize a tank item for our Rift Herald? Should we give our Ambessa a 3rd item so she can start doing more damage than she does with the Darkened Scythe and the utility? Or should we make our 2-star Aatrox more OP? That Hodge is looking pretty juicy, but they ended up taking it anyway, so we're gonna opt in for another tank item. I'm also thinking I could put this Protector's Vow into a unit, sell them and break the pieces apart, but Protector's Vow is already useful as is, so we're just gonna keep it and put it on our Rift Herald. Now at this point, I could have just stayed at level 8. I could have just spent all of that gold from the Reckoner portal and just roll until I hit my units. There's a lot of 4 cost out in the pool also. That would have been a good time to do it. There was a 2-star Lysandra, there was a 2-star Braum, there's a 2-star Seraphine, and honestly that would have been prime time to hit all the upgrades. They're also hitting a 2-star Warwick and a 2-star Singe on their bench, and if we fight the Warwick player again, this time this Warwick has a Prowler's Claw. That's so scary. This Warwick is becoming more lore accurate. If you want to see how the Prowler's Claw does in real time, just put it back in normal speed. So after the enemy Warwick kills my Herald, oh that's so weird. Did you guys see that pathing? Because my Aatrox popped his Edge of Night, he kind of just goes past through the enemy. What was that? So the Warwick ends up killing my Bel'Veth and starts zooming around. What a weird interaction. So there goes my Bel'Veth. He teleports to Wukong. Where is he? I lost track of him already. Oh, Warwick is over here. Teleports to Aatrox, but he doesn't get the dash because of his passive. Goes back to my Rift Herald and then back to Aatrox. That's a pretty disgusting item combo. That's top 3. We get some gold. Reckoner Arena is great. I love it. We play tempo and it's basically a free-for-all. Here we're at level 8 and we're trying to commit to the 2-star deal. We got a 2-star Herald and a 2-star Bel'Veth in our bench. Here comes Ambessa as well and a Swain. Again, we really don't have room for Swain at the moment, but lo and behold, skipping Wukong escapes me. Managed to get some items again, but this time none of these items look pretty good, so I decided what if I just make use of their components instead via salvage bin, and I decided to go for Jewel Gauntlet. That way I can make use of QSS on Ambessa. She is Vanquisher after all with my GP. I do find a Fiddlesticks later on, but I didn't have the quote-unquote gold for it, so we don't take them. Honestly, that Wukong should have been gone by now. He could have replaced Fiddlesticks, could have replaced them. Swain could have replaced them. There's another Aatrox going for a roll down. We sell the Aatrox because Aatrox 3 is not happening. So we're down to one more Ambessa. And I believe we have 1 HP left. Yep, so now it's make or break. I need to win out. We decide to sell Herald and Ambessa comes home. That's Ambessa 3. We try to see if we could roll for another Bel'Veth for Bel'Veth 3, but he ended up not getting it. We fight the Warwick player who is close to Singe 3. I believe that Singe 3 is going to be painful once he transfers Zig's items to him, but thankfully he didn't hit. And there goes our Ambessa, is just flailing around. Now that we have Ambessa 3, I'm looking to get Striker's Flail to just make her one-shotting that much faster. Transfer the items, make her as strong as possible, and then give red buff to Aatrox. Still no luck with the Bel'Veth 3. That's okay. That we make a last minute positioning swap so we can one-shot the Warwick, or rather 3, and if we one-shot everyone else, that base damage from the Darkened Scythe alone, plus her being a 3-star 4-cost, and Striker's Flail, it just makes for an easy ass whooping. And there goes the surrender. Looks like they burned through all of their gold, couldn't hit. What a game. Etchaboikaizen. That game went from a low roll Yasuo reroll to barely scraping the table, barely scraping the bottom of the barrel with Slayers in the beginning, with a hodgepodge frontline into an Ambessa 3-star. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys stayed through the end, thank you so much. I know this is a different vibe from my DFO videos, but I thought reviewing my own TFT games is a low effort quality content. I thought I'd put out some of the interesting games that I've been playing, just like today. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace.